Well, this is a lot better than standing in front of a design review jury. My name is Spencer Swalberg, and I'm now a Master of Architecture. I feel like I should have built a model or something to hold while I'm here, or at least gone to the plotter room at 4 a.m. to print something out. All of you know, I'm glad architecture students get my jokes. I'll miss these kind of jokes with you guys. Now it's time to go into the real world with normal people. But before architecture school, I used to read a lot more for fun. And I love what Keith was saying about paths and journeys, because that's what I was thinking about when I was preparing of what to speak on. Carlos Castaneda, he wrote about paths, and he said, "Look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary, then ask yourself alone one question. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it's no use." I remember when I first thought I wanted to go into architecture, the economy was really bad. There wasn't a lot of jobs. There were people graduating. There wasn't a lot of opportunity. And there were people telling me not to do it. And there were even some bitter architects that I ran into that said, "No, don't go into architecture. It's not worth it." But as I came to the University of Utah, started taking classes, the more classes I took, the more I loved it. And the more I enjoyed architecture and design. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I came here. And I'm really glad I happened to cross paths with all of you guys. I want to thank employers for working with us while we're students here. A lot of us worked throughout the time as students, and they worked with our difficult schedules, and they encourage us to get our degrees. Thank you to the faculty for choosing to teach here. There's a few real phrases that have burned into my head over the last few years. I remember Tony Serrato, he's gone now, but he was amazing. He he'd shuffle up to our desk and say, "Maybe you should hit the delete key." Or there's Pat Trippidy, his enthusiasm when teaching about structures. I remember him telling us about earthquakes and the S wave, and you start skiing in place. Or he's telling us about beam connections, moment frames, and he held a yardstick up to his forehead just for minutes. Or then there is Ollie and Prescott, who just talk about architecture on so many different levels. We're really lucky to have experienced them as professors. There's also Jorg, of course. I can't forget to mention Jorg. Just always bringing up some sort of awesome, efficient German technology that we've never heard of and nobody in the USA has really heard of, but we should certainly implement in the future. It goes without saying that I learned a lot from my professors, but nothing compares to how much I learned from my classmates. It's my classmates who worked with me in groups, and my classmates who were in the studio every hour of the day and every hour of the night. Whether it was studying for a test or sharing a basic Photoshop or Illustrator trick, some of those were just the most helpful things ever. Even just getting feedback on each other's projects. I just want to thank you all. I'm excited to be graduating, but I'm really going to miss the interactions I've had with my classmates, going on trips, talking about buildings, and really nerding out and having those conversations that nobody else can have, talking about the way a current mall system's designed, or the way a building sheds water. Totally boring to everybody else, but we argue about it. We argue about the styles of buildings, and I'm super grateful for it. We spent a lot of time together going on these trips, and also going out to the desert. And my classmates, I feel like I saw them more than I saw my own family. So that's what I want to talk about next, is just thanking all the friends and family and parents, classmates, all the relatives of faculty and classmates. I want to thank my wife. During the program, she gave birth to my 2 sons, and it was her that told me I'd be an idiot if I didn't spend a semester in the Four Corners region doing design, build, love. While she was watching a 1-year-old and pregnant with our 2nd child. All of you other widows of architecture, thank you for the support. Helping us build models, cutting out cardboard or foam core, whatever it was, late at night. And so now it's time for us to choose a path. I love the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." We can make a huge difference. Think of how much we accomplished as students, and we're not students anymore. It's time to make things better. Think of all the environmental problems that are happening right now and imagine what they'll be like 50 years from now if there isn't any change. The problems will only increase unless improvements are made. I know that we have what it takes to make a difference, and I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, and I'm glad I was able to speak to you guys and just tell you guys I love you. Thank you.
As is our tradition, it is now our privilege to recognize our recipients of honors and awards from our very